Hello there. In this video, I am going to talk about the Oracle views, and in this video, I would be talking only about the Oracle single table view. And for the multiple table view, I will take up another video. But let's actually start even with the single table view. There are a lot of things that need to be understood. I'm using Oracle 10G, and I'm also using the Toad. So in the case, if you are looking at it for the tools, I am using the Toad with Oracle 10G. Okay, let's start this thing. I'm using the HR schema that comes with the Oracle 10G database, but I'm not using the tables from those. I'm actually going to create a table, a temporary table, and going to work on it. Let's start moving towards the, as you can see, here are the tables of the HR schema. You can see it, and they are existing here, but I would not like to go into those details. So let's create. Now let's see, before creating the view, I will just create a table from the table employees. Here is the table employee. It comes with the HR database that's in the Oracle. Now I'm going to create a table emp by selecting all the records in the table employees. So I'm going to say create table emp as you can see. I can say select as, and I will execute it. Select start from employees, and you can see it got executed. And then I can select start from emp, and you can see that all the records from the employee got copied in the table emp. If you want to see the structure of the emp, it's very similar to the structure of the table employee. As you can see, there are, where y equals to beneath the null, it says that these fields can be null. When n is specified, these fields cannot be null. So as you can see, y stands for that those fields can be null, and n stands for that those fields cannot be null. And this is the column. This is the ID of the column, and you can see there is a numbers. This is a data type, as you can see it, and that's it. And we are not going to move more in details about that thing. And let's see if the view exists. We will drop it. No, it doesn't exist. So far so good. Now I am going to create a view. Now what is view in the first place? A view is just like a window on the thing you are looking at. let's let's look at your, if you live in a, if you go to a building in a, or if you live in an apartment, if you try to look out of a window, you may be able to see a certain part of the view from your window. But if you go to the somebody else apartment which is on the different side of your house and see and look at from that window, you may see a different view. View is basically actually giving a limitation to the whole picture. In a very similar way, a view in a table is actually filtering out the data that you want to be used, rather than allowing the access to the whole table, which may be very big, or for the security reasons it may be inappropriate to have the users to access the whole table. So depending upon the user's access, the person can be limited to see what data the person can see. And the only way to do it is only the best way is to do is to create a view that will allow the person to only get a limited view of the table. That is why we need it. Suppose if you if certain people's salary was a very important column in some table, and the person and everybody did not have the access except the account department only had access to the salary, other people did not have. So you can create a view for the other people, and you can create a different view for the account department. Depending upon what who is viewing, what department is viewing, they will see a different fields or a different columns in the view. So maybe for the other department the salary column may be missing, while for the account department the salary column may be visible. So let's go and start and create one view. So it says create view M salary GT, G stands for greater than $5,000, as select employee ID, first name, last name, job ID, hire date, salary, email. From M, your salary greater than 5,000, which means anybody who has a salary of 5,001 onwards. Let's go and create it. Excellent. Now that I have this view, now let me tell you, view only when you create a view, nothing is created except the definition in the data dictionary. There is no data being copied. It is just the definition, and you can actually use the insert, select, update as you use with the tables. You can use the same statement with the views itself. Let's go and check out what views we already have. So I go there and check out, and this is the new view I have created. As you can see, I select view name and text from the user view, and you can see that I have already created another one view. I can double click the memo, and you can see that the view that I created is already there. Now I have created a view with the salary greater than 5,000, which means only the people who have salary greater than 5,000 should be visible. The rest of the people should be not be visible to me. So let's say I said select salary greater than 5,000, and as you can see that the salary I have ordered it by the salary, and you can see that the salary above only above 5,000 has been listed. If you are not very sure about that thing, that the view is working, you can actually go and say select salary from M, order by salary, and you will see peoples with their salary whose employees actually have a lesser salary, and also the all the salaries have been listed here. Now that being stated, that we have only going to see from the view, we are going to see we see only those records that the view qualifies it for. Okay, now if I wanted to actually see the view definition, I can exactly use as a very similar describe table name, or I can also use it for the view name, because view also in the Oracle or any other database, relational database, is actually looks like a table in the data dictionary. So everything that works with the table will be working with this thing. And as you can see, the describes gives me the view definition completely. This is exactly like a table. Now I am going to insert a record. The view is supposed to be having a data that is greater than $5,000. Now I am here trying to insert a record where the salary is $4,000. Let's see what happens. If I just go and select and execute this SQL, you can see it got executed. That was not supposed to be happening. Okay, but where did it go? Let me go and check it out in the view, and let's see whether it's there. It is not there because I'm checking with the ID. I entered the employee ID for 300, so it's not there. Where did it go? So it went to the employee table. If I go and check the employee table for that ID, there it is. But because the view was for salary, employee salary greater than 5,000, only salary greater than 5,000 should be actually be allowed to get inserted. But how did this record got inserted? So what's the solution for it? Solution is, let's first delete the employee dot get dot got inserted, and let's see whether it is there or disappeared. It's disappeared. Now I'm going to drop this view and going to recreate the view with the check option, so that this record that got inserted when the employee salary was just $4,000 would not get inserted again. So I'm going to just drop this view and I'm going to recreate the view. Now I'm creating a view. I have just added with check option constant salary count. When I add this thing at the end of view, which means this view will not allow me to insert a row whose salary was less than $5,001. Let's do it and see it here. I've created it, and now if I try to insert, it should give me an error because now I'm using a check option. When I try to insert this record again, it should give me error, and it says view with the check option where clause violation. That is exactly where salary greater than the 4,000 the $4 record could not get inserted. That is exactly how I wanted my view to behave. Now I will try to retest it by entering a record that is for $5,001. Whether it works or is it a bluff? Let's see. And you can see that the record has been inserted into the view, and if you want to verify, you can just go and select, and you can see that the salary 5,001 has been inserted into it. And let's say now if I update this salary to the, now I'm going to use an update statement on the view. As you are seeing, I am going to use an update statement, and let's see if it works, and really the record does get updated. And you can see I updated and executed, and let me check it out whether it really got executed. And you can see the salary has become $10,000. Excellent. Now let's say if I try to update the same view again by making the salary $4,000. Now this violates the rule because the salary has to be greater than $5,000. So this should fail. Now again I try to execute, and it says view the check option where the clause violation. It failed. Now you have understood what the basically view is. Now let me actually try to show you whether I can delete the record. How I do I delete it? I say delete emp salary, that's view name, where emp id equals 300. I execute, and the record has been deleted. Let's verify it whether it has been deleted or not. Again I say select star from emp gt employee id equals 300, and you can see the record no more exists. Now what happens when the view is dropped or recreated? All the grants of the corresponding view privileges are revoked from the user and the role. Whenever you drop a view, all the corresponding privileges will be revoked from the user and role. So next time you create again a view, all the privileges and the grant option have to be the necessary ones that were there before, or if you change the, if you want to change it still, you have to reassign it, you have to grant it again. But This is not a very good idea. Every time I want to change a view a little bit, it is not a correct thing that every time the option should be revoked from the user and the roles. This would create a mess because views always are modified a little bit here and there every time as the database keeps on changing or the requirement keeps on changing. So there is an option in the Oracle that allows you to use create or replace view salary. Now create or replace will not, if it what it will do is that if sees that if the view exists, it will replace it. It will not delete it or drop it, but it will replace it. So what will happen is that the grant and the privileges that were there would not get revoked but will still remain. In this case, I am going to use the create and replace view salary great GT 5000 as again I'm going to create this view, and you can see that it got created, but this time the privileges were not revoked. This is how you use a create or replace so that your privileges remains intact. Now we have modified the view, however the privileges are same as before. Now let's select the statement and see, and you can see that the view exists. And still if you want to select the table, and you can see the table also exists. However you have noted that the underlying tables have so far not got affected. If however the condition was not specified in the new definition, the condition would be dropped. Whenever I create as it create or replace view, if I had removed that view condition, then the view condition would have been dropped. However, there are still rules for updating a single table view. The rules are: if the view has a set, distinct, group by group function used, the rows cannot be inserted, updated, or deleted. That is like using the function group function like sum, average, and many other functions that are used in the group by clause. So if you are using those functions, the views cannot be updated, or if you are using a set clause or a distinct, then again the views cannot be updated, inserted, deleted. So remember those things whenever you are creating a view that needs to be updated. And however, if there is a not null column that exists in a table from where the base table, and that has not been included, which of course doesn't have a default clause on it and has not been included in the view, then the view is not updatable. If it has a default value, then still it's updatable, but if there is no default value assigned to it, then it is not updatable. Now have you wondered many times that you wanted to create a view, but the maybe the tables were still not there, or the columns have not been added to that table? So how would you be able to create a view on the table that doesn't exist, or the column that was not there in the table? Oracle allows you to create a view on a table that doesn't exist or the column that doesn't exist. It is known as force view. Now, force view are also called view with errors. Oracle allows you to create force view or view with errors on the table that doesn't exist or the column that does. However, you must be wondering what happened. Oracle stores the definition of the force view in the data dictionary. However, whenever you create the underlying objects like the missing table and the missing columns you can recompile your force view and try to execute it, and it would work. However, whenever you try to execute the force view, the oracle will compile the force view. Now let's go and try and create a force view. Now in this example, I'm trying to create another view which says employees salary greater than 10,000 at. Now this is a force view because the column bonus is basically not there in the M table, and you can see that it will give you an error when it is created because the column bonus is missing. Now let's go and create the force view, and it says the bonus invalid item, and I'm going to click OK. But still it has created a view. Mind you, it has not actually rolled back, or it has not actually stopped you from creating a view. The query is created and has been entered into the data dictionary, and we are going to verify it. So let's go and verify it, and you can see there is our view greater than 10,000 that has been created, and it has a column bonus in it. However, our table doesn't have it. So if I try to run this, if it has been created, it should run. However, it will not run because the oracle, when it creates that definition into it, also marks it as it invalid. So it gives you an error as the HRM greater than has errors. Now suppose if I alter because my view is created on the M table, I am going to alter the table M, that is the base table, and add the bonus column to that table. Once I add, so this view should become valid and should execute correctly. Let's do it and see it. Okay, and you can see that the column has been added. Let's see, check it out as I describe M, and you can see that the bonus has been added at the end. So far so good. Now I am going to execute the force view that I created, and it should execute because it will recompile this time again, and it will try to execute after recompiling. And if there is all the base tables and the objects under it found, it would be able to execute it. And this, there you go, you can see that all the, because bonus though is null, not available, there is no value available, it, but the column is there, so it has been able to execute the view. That's all. Now I need to clean up everything, so I will drop the table amp and drop the views, and that should be the end of it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. Okay.